don't want to waste that ammo count, right? You want to make sure you hold on to your utility, to your resources. You want to keep your helmet, your vest in a really good position, because the issue is, sure, you might be able to get a lot of elimination from up there, but the main issue is that when you start to run out of resources, you can't loot the crates, and that becomes really, really troublesome for them to try and go for the win. But you know what? They start shooting towards the end of the match. 7 eliminations for AJ, 6 for Jing, the MVP contender everyone is talking about. King playing very well on the high ground, and unfortunately, sitting out this game, it seems, and not doing too good.
And I mean, for the MVP contender, you can see there 1,400 damage. He did end up getting less eliminations there than AJ, but overall a good performance. And I know you wanted to talk about this team early on, Kotro.
I do. I have 2 points about this team. Okay. First one, yes, was the zone given to them a little bit?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. But what I enjoyed from that was their immediate rotation to the observatory tower.
Yes.
Like, immediate. There was no thought about it. There was like, okay, go. We go. And I thought that was really, really nice from them, because a lot of teams would hesitate. We talk a lot about hesitation. I think that a lot of teams would end up thinking about it just too much, where for them it was like, that's where we need to go. That's just what we need to do. Second thing I want to say is I see a little bit of a similarity to Team Weibo, actually, Weibo Gaming, because they kept to themselves, they kept quiet, and they kind of stacked on top of each other until they had actually room to grow, room to spread out, room to kind of do something with what they wanted to do. They made sure that there weren't any surprise angles going to be taking them out from that position, and so then once they were confident in that, they were able to take control.
I feel like that's accurate too. I feel like at first, Max, you and I were like, okay, we're really not enjoying what Thunder Talk Gaming's doing, but then they were able to fix it up there towards the end. One team that did end up surprising us, though, with an interesting rotation, and we're just going to mention it right now. Yangon Galacticos. It worked out for them with the glider.
It did. They went for actually not just a small glider rotation, or the glidation as we call it. They actually went for, they went from around Primorsk area down the southern side of the military island to enter back into the eastern side, crash into the water on a rock, swim back over to the coast, and play their game from there on out. It was a very wild rotation, and I kind of feel bad because, as we know, the glider is only a 2-seater vehicle. How do you pick the 2 players to go forward? Like, did you rock, paper, scissors in the back? Like, okay, you survive, give me all the meds, we'll just move on back into the game. That is a rough decision that had to be made, but it worked out.
Just look at them. You guys figure it out. See you later. We're going to try to collect some points. One team that did end up doing a rotation, and it was super, and I mean super late. Team Secret. Somehow, I think it was phase 4, and they were still trying to find a way into military, but they were able to find a way into military.
I think that's probably one of the latest rotations I've ever seen in esports. Like, that was wild. But hey, it worked, right? They made it work.
The 13-minute mark, by the way.
13 minutes? Do you know how crazy that... Anybody who actually plays the game, like, competitively, at least semi-competitively, knows how crazy that is.
Especially when you drop George Pole and the circle is on the literal opposite side of the map. And the fact that they get... What?
Lucky?
Oh, yeah. I think that went without saying, Seven, but the fact that they still find an entry point going into the southern side is very interesting to me. There's definitely a level of luck to that. But then they actually start playing into the Harry Potter Tower. Like, okay, we found a very good position. We're very lucky. We just want to play passive and hope we get a few extra good positions later on. So I like the way they played it after that. I don't want to see that rotation again.
I think as well, it was a really smart rotation to actually avoid so many teams, because
there was no one there.
Well, there wasn't anybody
Everyone
there.
was in circle.
But they were still here with a full squad. Like, everybody else was fighting. They went around to the south side, around to the east, found that tower and stayed there, but they were still a full squad when they went up against Thundertalk, which I feel like is a feat of its own.
That's a lot of meds. I'm just saying.
It is a lot of meds.
Wait.
Yeah.
Just before we move on to this, just to make sure I am understanding that correctly, right? You're okay with the rotation that they did?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it seemed like you enjoyed it.
No, I liked how they played it. I like how they played after that they were still able, in the midst of everything going on in the late game, to actually maintain a full squad and actually get in zone and be second players. The initial rotation was insane, though.
I mean, you like team spirit, so you like weird stuff. I understand that. That's completely fair. So you keep going.
We'll get a chance to talk about this one a little bit more, especially when the next game starts. But
how dare he?
We got a fun little segment, Neptura.
Oh.
We got a fun little segment that if you enjoyed that play, what would you do if you were them?
I have 2 things. If I were Falcons, I would actually skirt around to the left side where that off-angle player of TXMG just went down. I would go off to the left and try and get a little bit more of a ground rather than stacking up on each other. If I'm Team ATMG, thank you. I would play exactly how they played it, to be honest. They treated it like a third party until they got a couple opening knocks and then just full sent it. That's really nice. It was actually only Narvalo that actually ended up getting rid of the team, because then he was able to nade himself, his teammates, but also the enemy as well. But I really liked that from ATMG.
Yeah, one team that's not here, and one team. You remember the conversation that we had at the end of the day yesterday too with Team Falcons in regards to that play too. They were saying that they were super surprised that team were even going to. I think it was you and I that were talking.
Yeah.
To them. They were so surprised that team would even push them when they were outside the zone.
Yeah, because they were like, we're in a really bad spot. Why are you pushing this? But I do get it. You know, you have to clear a team. You have to clear a team if the opportunity comes available to you. Also, I think they realized that that Falcons were sandwiched between the teams on the other side of the river and themselves. They were like, if we can just do this quickly enough, we should be able to do it. But also, yeah, it was a very big risk coming in from them.
I can imagine the comms also on the side of Falcons like, oh, don't worry about this team. They're definitely
they're not going to come here. Wait, guys.
It's Buggy's rolling in the background.
Guys.
Whoa, what's going on? And at the end, no survivors, right?
Yeah.
Everyone got eliminated. I think there was 4 also going for it. So,
mate,
if you're AXTMG, I think you could have gone for the wider rotation south. It would have been safer. But you know what? They're not here today. We can talk about it more tomorrow. There you go.
Okay, you know what? Before we even move on to that, Max, do you think it might have been one of those plays that for a team that doesn't really have that much experience with a global event, that they're just doing something unpredictable? Like Team Falcons was not predicting them to push them, right? But they ended up doing it, and it ended up working out for them in their favor.
I think it's just a misplay. I don't think it's because of the stage or anything. It just is they didn't see other options at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right. You know what? And as mentioned, none of these teams are here, so we don't really have to worry about them. We'll see what they're going to be doing tomorrow. But I know that the next game is going to be ready, so you know what? Let's send it over to the casters.
Oh yes, we're in position, we're ready for this one. Let's see, Black, last game for us today. Obviously the halfway point, game 3. Competition's been pretty exciting so far. Some favour from the circles. Everyone knows their shapes today.
That's really caught me off guard.
You didn't expect that?
Didn't expect that. You know, the circle goes in the square hole.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Can't put a triangle in there. That's the wrong shape.
It is indeed. We've got a pyramid here on the stage. That's a shape.
Well, it is actually physically the strongest shape.
It is.
3 points of structure. The pyramid is by far the strongest shape.
It's like a few triangles.
Yeah. Well, we saw that from TT. They went for the
Matched
triangle. Yeah, exactly.
They did indeed, and they played it well. Where's my... Oh, they've got rid of him. That black screen right there, that's the water wall right there. It's been removed.
Yeah, shut it down.
Shut it down. That's unfortunate for us. I was excited to bring that one back. But yeah, no point having him on screen, really. That's it.
Too much water. Yeah. He's pure H2O.
Yeah, H2O at this point.
Hydrated.
77 points for 4 thrives, just shy that 10-point average now. But Regnum Kai is definitely bringing it back up to speed. DRX still following in turn with that 64. But Team Secret still looking fairly good here on Erangel. It was a nice maneuver over towards the Wizard Tower, but not much you can do from there. I think once Thunderhawks realise your position, I don't really know what you do off the back of that. Tough playing path all the way over towards the eastern side. So there's going to be a lot of teams flocking over towards the west. So teams should understand that a lot of this eastern area will be picked up depending on this next circle.
Curious to see how things are going to start to go as well for Alpha. Obviously, like it's just said, halfway point, right? It feels like it's been kind of rough. Aggro. They've been diving in, bro. Like, it's not been ideal. First 2 games, I think, you know, some of the issues they've run into, just losing so much. God, look at the numbers on this, though. Hang on, Falak. God, he's up there.
He's blasting. He absolutely is blasting. Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. Suk with a 396, 4 meters off the max. That's a lovely target to set here early in the tournament.
4 meters shy for the big 400.
Yeah, big. Very, very big. At the moment, we've got IQOO and Falak as our top naders with 4 and 3 apiece. Makes sense, really. Very, very good when it comes to that combat using the ordnance. You get a western shift on the circle. Now, I think this is important to bring up as well, purely because we did have that eastern plane. A lot of this area on the western side completely free.
Yeah.
North George open, South George open, Hospital, Gatka. So if you want to get a move on early, heading over towards that side, there's a lot of free areas to be taken. Kotro picking up Pachinki. Falcons are not playing here. They're observing today. We had a nice interview, reflection earlier, talking to Pico, basically asking him what their ideas were today, what they were going to check in on. And I think that Kotro drop in Pachinki is definitely something they'll be looking in on, and whether Kotro will give it up when they play against one another.
It's looked a little bit shaky as well for Kotro. You know, they've had some opportunities where it feels like they see the one chance, the eyes light up, full commit, and then everyone just gets taken down from the side. So it's not really been the absolute cinema you might want for the Keno boys.
It has not. No, it's not been Keno at all. But I think it's a typical thing where you want to see them get back up to speed. I think Max brought up a brilliant point earlier,
as he always does,
about how, you know, in terms of international experience, there's only really one player there with Ozzy-san. It's difficult getting on a big stage like this, an intimidating stage. The PUBG Mobile World Cup is never easy to deal with. And I think if you don't have a lot of that international experience, it's even worse. So the jitters do come early. Now, this is just the group stage. You will go to survival stage. We're not cutting anyone out just yet. So you do have that second chance at least right now, taking these days ahead, just to acclimatize yourself basically to the area you're in, honestly.
Yeah, the schedule, the flow, the noise as well. Like, it gets really loud in there. The reverberations, man. It's kind of a crazy thing, right?
The team shouting at one another across the room.
Well, we were seeing it yesterday, right? Like, everyone was actually popping off and looking super animated.
Giving it.
And I think that's one of the things, you know, when you come into that mix, it is a melting pot where it feels like suddenly you might not just be ready for it. Like, the animation, the human element of PUBG Mobile catches you off guard.
It's the emotional levels as well. It's really nice to see. You can tell when teams are feeling, you know, a little bit down or elated after a win. It's one thing I've noticed about 4Thrives, at least, is coming off the back of great games, it's quite calm, actually.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, collected. You know, there's no mismatch there for them. I think for 4Thrives, it's a good thing. Something we saw a lot of times. For instance, Senator used to coach over there for a lot of teams so far, had a lot of coaching experience, but he was always in there calming teams down.
Yeah.
Calming their players down as well, making sure that they weren't getting overhyped when they won a game. That they weren't getting underhyped, saddened by a bad game. But it feels like 4Thrives have already got that down just with the mix itself.
Yeah, well, if you get that like adrenaline spike straight into the downtime between the next start, it can take it out of you, and suddenly you're not feeling yourselves. It takes a little bit longer to make those snap decisions. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, bro. It definitely can throw you off massively. So there is a fine art to being able to balance it. Keep the heart rate low, but the happiness high. Yeah,
some teams feed off it, though. I know that Alpha 7 in particular, when they have a bad game, there is discord in the team. Right?
You could cut the tension with a knife. Like, we've seen it sometimes on the player accounts.
Revo is not happy with you, so you're having to sort that out as well. But it's almost a hunger thing where I think they're all very reasonable with one another. They're not afraid to be like, this was bad.
Yeah,
we need to sort this out right now. Like, I don't like what happened there, and they will fix it. So they don't get themselves into a situation where they're completely thrown off by their emotions, but instead just feed that into their gameplay, which is tough to do, in my opinion. I think you have to be with a team for a long time, as Mafioso, Korea, as well as Revo have been, so they can have those conversations with one another and not instantly want to, you know, take it out after the games. They're just like, this is gameplay. You know, we're going to complain when we need to, and we'll fix it. But after the day's done, you know, we're all best friends again. So yeah, it's an important thing to consider. Do you want to feed that hunger, or do you want to keep it chillaxed?
Yeah, the unpack of the bag is important. You know, being able to fully break everything down, no holes barred, but then know everyone's on the same page. Just come back in with that mental reset. You see the difference. So the caliber of teams that can compartmentalize it, but understand when you need to call something out.
Absolutely, dude. I think Alpha Gaming is a big one for this because they have some massive names on board. And the one thing I do worry about this team is the ego check. Right? You've got Top, you've got Doc, you've got Zol. These three players in particular, I mean, Reefers has just been an anchor for that team, in my opinion, keeping them all held down, honestly. humble, basically, pretty much. But for those 3 players, they have masses of amounts of experience. And working together, how does that work? Is that why they're getting so aggressive? Everyone wants to just get into the thick of it. I don't think Doc is used to having players that also want to make kind of similar Doc plays, where he can't make a crazy play, maybe get away with 3 or 4 elims and go down, because it's like, well, Zol and Top have joined me for this, and now the whole team is dismembered. It's not good.
No. You see it, though. The optics is there, where it is almost as if, you're all competing against each other within the bounds of the roster with one goal as the main focus. But sometimes it goes a little bit, more the other way than you'd want it to. Yeah, it's an interesting point you bring up, and you need to fix it a little bit. Obviously, halfway point of the day, you're relatively far down the overall standings with the points you've been able to acclimate so far. Can't be having that.
It's funny as well, because, we saw earlier that, from the analysts at least, their predictions for today, the teams to watch, was 3 for 3 on Alpha Gaming. And I even spoke to you then, I was like, hey man, just so we're aware right now, Alpha Gaming, they're looking like this because you can't not predict them. You can't afford not to predict that team, because if they do have a good day, it's going to be monstrous. But at the same time, this is a team that can just fall dead in the water so quick. And I think that's what we're seeing right now with just the 8 points over 2 games. There's still plenty of matches to bring that points number up, but I do think for Alpha Gaming, they're a team that, you have to include in the conversation and just keep watch over them. Vision losing a player early. That's over towards that eastern side. I think that's coming through from all our ego.
Very well could be. It seems like they're just in the back line there. And they've been a team that's no stranger today, taking fights even when they're in the back foot. It's looked very aggressive. But even for them, right, it's another team where it feels like they've kind of been hit with the unlucky stick with some of the starts, but been able to bail themselves out massively.
Yeah.
The points you're accumulating just off the elims has been huge for them. So one big game, suddenly you're thinking, all right, maybe there is more to be said.
And keep themselves in the mix. I mean, they've already pretty much caught up to Fireflux in 16. Obviously, Fireflux were having one of the worst days for themselves yesterday, and it's not been great today either. I mean, they started on 20 points, now up to 24 points, so it's not been great on the day. But for Alter Ego to get here on what has been a little bit of a rough start, it's nice to see that they're never backing down. Alpha Gaming, though, coming up against Thunder Talk here, assisted by Fireflux. I think Thunder Talk's taken an early exit.
It's like the lineup as well, though. Vision then in the back, further away. Everyone's taking pot shots at one another, so commotion breaking out amongst the 4, resulting in quite a few early removals of players. So dwindling those numbers immediately. Off the chicken dinner last time, that's going to be rough for you, then falling into a position where you are down to, of course, just one player. No real points already established either. So likelihood of being able to squeeze a lot in back-to-back games and keep that energy high, not looking good for him. That storyline, you can put that one to bed.
It's the replay here. Alter Ego picking up that first elim over towards Visions inside that warehouse, just locked him down, didn't let him back out again. Ended up as merchandise inside the building. But Circle, let's talk about this a little bit, right? We've got Ruins involved. Yangon Galacticos have found themselves out. Watertown, where you got Regnum Kaya currently playing. A lot of fielded area down towards that south side and cut off on the west in terms of rotates, with Everest being that super massive high ground. So it's a bit of a weird one to come into, because you have got to go through Pachinki, the fields where 4 Thrives are playing, pass through School and Rozok. It's not an easy circle to be moving through, at least on those outer edges and sweeping. There's a lot of cover in those areas. Equally, you don't really want to find yourself over towards Headshot Hills, which is towards the center here, too early and get it spotted out. So this is very much going to be a little bit of a passive first 20 minutes of the game, I would say. You're probably going to have some scrapes here and there around the map. But yeah, I would say teams are going to take their time with this.
We've got that little POV from Toshbek as well. I think it's interesting, obviously, you mentioned headshots there. He was getting more headshots than the photographer, mate. Like, the quick peeks he was going for, it's wonderful to see. Like, stalwart in his defense is right. Felt like he was really good in terms of just defending on entrance. Crisp with the aim. It's what you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, he's made a good addition. Because, I mean, Loxy, Wild, Silas, been playing together for a very, very long time. Last year, PMGC London, they had Sarah involved. I think Sarah really melded into the team very, very well. And they were shy by 2 points on taking the victory over at PMGC versus D plus Kia on one of the most crazy endings on Miramar on the island finish. So they've been looking for someone to play with. I think Toshbik has filled that role very nicely, but it is Loxy who is a criminal with the M4.
Yeah, pandemonium caused with the barrage of bullets, results in the crash on the vehicle, commits with a knockdown.
He's focused, what you see there, dude, like, taking this super serious. It doesn't really make sense as well. Like 66 points, they're doing fantastically well. I mean, they're catching up to 4 thrives here.
Yeah.
But everything's on the line. I mean, that comes off the back of getting in on 4th place on the spot that they earned from PMGO. Yet they know they've got a lot to prove to the fans.
This kind of feel like that's sort of been the a little bit of the narrative in a lot of the games we've seen. We almost look at them as sort of being the bridesmaid, never really the bride, can't quite get it over the edge. There's been a few times where they've been able to steal it away, but so many chances where you're thinking, yeah, they're going to grab this one. Really good spot, really good setup.
Yeah.
Like they're delivering individually. And I think today, again, as well, so much of a chance you could potentially look to lap. But again, you look at this squad in front of you. 4 thrives, Falak and the boys, they have been playing some phenomenal PUBG Mobile. Decision-making's been on point. The way they've been holding themselves as well. Like, you talk about the pressure, physically seeing it on players, there's been none of that. Silas from the sidelines, fires out the shots.
Nice.
Squad set up for it. Loxy straight in. Hard commit onto that as well. Mini 14 takes him down. Vision as well from the side there, get hit on by Alter Ego.
It's pretty slick stuff as well. I mean, Silas always plays this role. He knows he's got to move this vehicle. The tires are getting shot out. He's going to move back over towards his team. Real sharpish. Now that Team Seeker is trying to backstab over towards Regnum Kaya, but provided so much information from that position, stopped 4 thrives from getting a crazy spot in there that they wouldn't have been able to dislodge. So losing a player early like that is just going to make the life of Regnum Kaya easy. They also get a nice pickup over towards Falak, just pilfering the loot crate there. Yeah, this is nice from Regnum Kaya.
It's vintage Team Secret from what we've been seeing as well. Throw themselves into positions and really dial it down. Slow down the pace, look for an opportunity. Never really seem to be the squad that goes in to kick it off. They're just playing for the backline, right? Once someone else presents the opportunity, makes a mistake, then they get involved. To a degree, we've seen that passive play work in a couple of the games over the split yesterday. I don't know if it's been as clean today, to be honest.
I mean, again, you bring it up here, and we've seen it a lot in the past, the PUBG Mobile. You're so right in terms of that passive gameplay. It really reminds me of IQOO Gaming, for instance, who have made it through a lot of events just by playing that passive gameplay, taking a center position, and just allowing teams to come to them and watching the carnage unfold around them. Unfortunately, in recent times, it's just not quite enough anymore, and you do need to be a bit more proactive. Team Secret has benefited off it so far with 59 points, which is, very respectable. But it's one of those play styles that, it keeps you up towards that top side, but it's not going to give you a win, right? It's not going to put you on that champion podium when it's all finishes and all the dust settles. That's the only thing I worry about for Team Secret.
That's the thing, I suppose, is how long does that go their way? R8 with a dive in. Up close and personal here. Good so far up against IG. Able to handle themselves nicely on the crash towards the ridge side. It's a little bit of cover to work off as well. Restock themselves. Nade over the top though. That's Volt setting himself. Good distance on it. Nice detonation, clean connection. Nade's right on target. Couple left to work with as well amongst the squad, and they're going with the staggered nade, one after another, getting it close on the vehicle. It's going to land on target. The mortar shells raining out. So Vision making it very uncomfortable for R8. However, never alone. Backside, that's Fanta getting the shot off from GMX. You got the drive up here as well. Alter Ego going in. Meanwhile, POV of Solus, that's Fireflux, looking to see if they can steal away any points from the commotion that's been caused here. Smokes up all around. Vision rough for them to get info on this. Nade's going to be close. Right at the feet there.
Keep this calm though for them. Scarface looks to move forward. Little underhand over the top side. There's a lot of damage over towards Prestige. And he will go down. But that's the GAMNG off in the distance. So stolen away from Scarface. Kedge is res back up again. So Fireflux can continue to play it. They need a whole lot of points here, Jackie. It's not looking good for them. Vision managed to find themselves a bit more cover over towards a compound off in the distance there. But in comes Alpha Gaming. And will this be a moment where Alpha Gaming suffers, or will they take it to GAMNG here? They get one res off, one is down, but they're swift with it.
It looked like a huge nade, but it's going to be more the plays that are made up close and personal. GAMNG struggling on this one as the dive comes in from Alpha. They clean up. The Doctor's here.
It's an incredibly swift fight there coming through, and I don't think GAMNG had any kind of response. They're going to get 4 death crates to move through. Lovely stuff. Loxy gets up to 600 damage. Will do a lot of work over towards Yangon Galacticos, who find themselves in a crater of misery here versus 4 Thrives. Will not let anyone in to their territory. Lovely addition on this map as well. Those positions gives you a bit more cover to work with. Used to be all flat ground around there. Very, very tough. But that'll do the trick. 4 Thrives get themselves some more loot on board. Not only that, but a lovely circle for them to push this one forward. Unfortunately, they are missing right now, I'd say, the star player in Falak.
Honestly, though, you're going to take that every time, man. Like the dive in from Yangdong, the fact they've been able to grab that one away, get the additional stock from it, still have good zone control to play off. Yeah, there could be a lot to build from this, but it's the Moana madness in the back line, getting the shots in. IDA struggling, Influence Rage as well, getting hit heavy, down and out off the back of it. Rosemary still scanning through the smokes and looking to add insult to injury on this one. Bullets through the back window, barely getting out. Aaron putting the pedal to the metal.
In the meantime, Alpha Gaming is still giving it on those sidelines over towards Keynote, and that is a long, long distance they're sending those across. This Scarface to find a double nade over towards Reefus. That will take one down. That was a far scout off towards that eastern side. At least Alpha Gaming do have eyes on towards that, but now you've got the deadly trio coming your way.
So with the distance on the nade. He's the one with his eyes honed in towards Fireflux, looking to stop them from really creating too much commotion. You got the split, of course, as well. Doc and Top making the wrap back around. Potential to get some free points onto the back line of Kino.